Why, hello there. A nice day here. Hoping you're having a great day. I'm bringing you a knife review of this Pena X Series knife. I think this is the first Pena I've done on the channel. It's currently the only one I have, I believe. These are made by Riot. Very good knives based off the custom patterns that Pena does, which are also considered very, very high quality custom knives that are actually somewhat reasonable price compared to some custom knives, right? There's a lot going on here. Oh, there's that. What are we looking at here? We're looking at the Pena Raptor XL, I believe this one is. This particular one has the white micarta, which is quite attractive, honestly. PVD finish and M390 blade. It is a front flipper. Frame lock. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I always have trouble telling if this is a hollow. It looks like it's a slight hollow grind. It's hard to tell. I think there's a slight hollow grind going on there. It might be a hollow grind knife. Might be considered a flat ground knife. Don't know. This is a slight sway back kind of pattern, which I'd honestly like to see this knife without the sway back pattern, but it is what it is, and I think this one is quite beautiful, so I was more than happy to grab it, and I'm more than happy with it. Let's get into that knife before we get off track too far. Because I can't stay on track. Alright, what do we got here? We have, this is the XL, by the way, of the Pena X, the Raptor. X Series Raptor, yeah. 3 and... It's over 3 1/8, under 3 1/4. I'm going to call that 3.15 inches of blade. Yeah, that's the XL, by the way. 7... Wow, the numbers do not want to match up, or do not want to be coming out even here. It's like 7.3 inches. And the handle, because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm gotta finish it. Just a hair over 4 and 1/8. So 4.15-ish, maybe? Yeah. They're not coming out a very good round numbers for the size. Don't hit the box. Comparisons to our small Elementum and full-size Conspirator. As you can see, it's closer to the Elementum size despite being an XL. It is a bit bigger than the Elementum, a decent amount. You're getting more blade length, you're getting more handle length. But it's still... I'd still consider this like right on the edge of a small knife. Not even a medium knife. This is still pretty small. Maybe it's kind of sitting on the cusp of being medium, but it's certainly not a full-size knife. Honestly, it's probably too small to even consider a medium knife. Dimension-wise, it is a tiny bit taller than the Elementum back here with the sway back flare. But up here, it is actually thinner than the Elementum. It is also relatively thin, despite being... Actually, it's kind of... It's actually reasonably thick. It is contoured, fully contoured. It's about as thick as the... At the height of the contour, probably as thick as the Conspirator. Which is not a super thick knife, just thicker than the Elementum. Before we move on, one final thing is the AA battery comparison for grip, and you basically have a hair more than 2 AA batteries of grip, which is more than enough, like, to move around here. And honestly, I have a tendency to like gripping back here, where you're kind of got a slight angle on this thing to sit in your hand, with the wrap around your pinky a little bit. So yeah, there's a lot of space and a lot of positions that you can grab here. Very good in that regard. Let's get a weight. Start off with weight today. 3.36 ounces. Not quite an ounce an inch, but pretty darn close, honestly. It's not milled out on the inside, but of course you have inlays on the outside. I mean, they could have maybe milled out a little bit back here and gotten you to that exact ounce an inch, but it's not bad. It's not heavy. Is that off? Yes, it is. Calipers. Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to zero out on me. At its thickest point, this knife is 518 thousandths, which is just a tiny bit thinner than the Conspirator at its thickest. I believe the Conspirator is 524, something like that. Blade stock thickness, 117.5 thousandths of an inch. And behind the edge should be pretty thin, should be... Really, this one is that thin? 9-10 thousandths behind the edge. Woo. Yeah, she thin. That's got to be a slight hollow grind, or just a really aggressive flat grind. It cuts. It is. It is a straight edge, sort of sheep's foot, just slicer. It just pushes and keeps going. It does. Final spec is our hardware, if I can find the right one. Yes, this is the T8, and no, not T8. Hardware is not T8. It is bigger than T8. I want to say that might be even T10. I don't know where my T9 is. Yes, Okay, so we got... Looks like T9 on the entire body, the pocket clip, the lock bar insert, and T10 on the pivot. Which is great. Big, chunky hardware. Don't complain about that at all. I do kind of wish that... I think this is... I think it's free... No, I think it actually is captured. Then there's no complaints at all. Alright. Now we're done with the specs. Let's just get into this thing. You got Pena X Series here. Of course, I'd like to see that on the flat. Just maybe X Series or even Pena. M390s, where I wish that was, honestly. I don't like seeing on the cutting bevels. But other than that, it's a pretty minimal sort of amount of billboarding and branding. It's not huge. It's also got a very unique sort of shape. It's called the Raptor, and it just... This one, I don't know why. Something about the blade shape just... It feels aggressive. It does feel kind of... It's got a little hump there, so you can kind of push down onto it there. It really does feel good in the hand. And it's got a aggressive but unique look to it. Even though it's just maybe a few extra angles and a good placement of a swedge, it looks a little more interesting than a lot of other knives with similar blade shapes. For some reason. To me! That's all I can say. As usual with the Pena knives, the plunge grind, while it is not separated from the edge termination, you do have a giant gap here. So you will get a tiny bit of a smile as you go up, likely. But you can easily widen that out because the stop pins are internal here. So nothing near the edge. I mean, I don't know if I completely think that doing it like this is really good, but you got to bring the actual plunge grind back when you do it like that, which is because it kind of defeats the purpose. But, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's not hard to mess with, and it should be pretty forgiving. Thin edge, as I said. Jimping, great. This is the kind of great jimping that we want to see. Wire EDM jimping, tightly packed, very grippy, not super aggressive, but great grip. It is a front flipper and sort of a top flipper. Both work just wonderfully. Honestly, this is well executed. It is on bearings, and as you can see, Light shake shot, very smooth. No play whatsoever. And is it centered? Yes, it is. It is pretty darn centered, I'd say. Moving on from there, you got the pivot. It looks like it's not captured, but I think it is. The only reason I'm not double checking right now is because I have Loctite in there, which is not something I want to, mess with right now. But if I remember correctly, it is technically centered, even if it's not. There is a pivot collar. It's a small little thing on there. You've got some milling and the inlays on the body, which I think just make it look really good. It's just a bit of fancy, nice execution instead of just, a bolster. These originally were just sort of bolsters, lock knives. Or, I guess the bolster would be up here and the scale would be back here. But this one is one of the more recent ones that came out, and it's just got a little bit more going on. You got a little bit of milling, you got a little bit of fancy shape for your very well executed inlays. In a very attractive feeling and attractive looking micarta. And even though it doesn't match on the backside, you put the inlay there. You bring the design elements throughout the entire knife, and that's what I like. If this wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have gotten this knife. Just completely candid. That's how it is with me. It's a pet peeve of mine. Not deep carry, but the clip is short. It is a little bit heavy on the tension because it is a short clip, but it definitely does flex and it does work, and you can definitely force it. And like it has an easy pull from up to about here, so then you can just kind of force it over the pocket. I don't think it's going to be causing too much of a problem, but it might be a little bit difficult in the thicker parts of your thicker pants. Backspacer with a hidden lanyard loop, the best thing a lanyard loop can be, if it has to be there at all. As I said, the entire thing is nicely contoured, including these inlays, following the entire curvature of the knife. I don't think that... Well, one more thing. Final thing... Well, no, second to final thing. Is lock bar access. No. It is focusing on the traditional, kind of modern traditional style, which is true to Pena's knives, and aesthetic, over certain... You're basically compromising on a little bit. You do not have lock bar cutout. Not much, if any. Maybe? Not really, no. However, the way this one is executed, with the scallops on both sides, something about it is super easy to get to. I don't know if it's because the titanium's thick. I don't know if it's just the angle. Whatever they've done, however they've executed it, while it normally, in most knives, would be like, oh, I have to access it like this. And you can, of course. But this one still gets you almost straight from the side. At least my finger does. How? Don't know. But, well, it's Riot, and it's Pena's design, so it's executed intelligently enough that it somehow still works pretty well. It's a little tighter than it needs to be, but it works. And it doesn't, compromise the aesthetic. There we go. That's the words I'm looking for. Nice frame lock. Simple, straightforward knife. The other thing that I really like about Pena X Series knives is the price point. Most Pena X Series knives have historically been, $274? And the Damasteel variants are typically around $374, I think it is. Usually about $100 more. The Zircutai crazy fancy thing is different story, but for what you're getting here, contoured titanium, Riot made, the price point's sitting around there. Even if this one, I don't know if this one was a little bit more. I don't actually think it was that much more, if at all more, when it came out. I don't know if these are available anywhere right now, but If they are, I'll check them out, but that'll be in post, right? So I think this was about the same price approximately, which is excellent. Like, this is wonderful. An OEM'd sub or round to $300 knife from Riot with this level of execution, with inlays and everything. Yeah, even the base models, the Lannies, the regular Raptor, he's got some options, and I think there are some around usually. Even his frame lock, like Moolah and Alacran, which is, I think, Scorpion in Hispanic or Mexican, Hispanic, Espanol. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, those were like $274 too. So the price points on these things are pretty freaking fantastic. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and pretty consistently. So if you're looking for a premium knife that you really feel like you're getting your money's worth, these ones have always felt pretty darn great to me. Just his entire line, Pena's. And I'm not even like a super swayback fan, but it works. It just works. It does. It's great. It's a nice sort of gentlemanly style knife while giving a little bit of swagger in this particular pattern. I've also had a Lanny's clip with carbon fiber. I did end up selling it. It had Damaste on carbon fiber. It felt almost the same. Very high quality, very consistent. Good execution on the front flipper. Great execution all around. Riot made. Yeah, it's good. Price, yes. Yes. That's everything for me here today, I think. I'm losing the ability to talk, apparently. So I'm going to call it and say thank you for watching. Consider liking and subscribing. And hope you continue having a good day if you have or haven't had one up until now. Yes, I'm losing the ability to talk. Okay, so I'm going to shut up. See you. I'm out.